She says 11 words. Then she falls. Those words will be repeated for the next 2056 years. You wrote them 3 days ago. Sitting in a locked room with a dead man. No army, no navy, no country left to rule. You planned the ending. The basket, the letter, the timing, the soldier's question. Her answer. Octavian's messengers arrive 43 minutes too late. You planned for that. This is not the story of how you lost. This is the story of the last move you made. And why the most powerful man in the world spent the next 3 years unable to explain exactly what happened. 3 days earlier. You are 39 years old. Alexandria, August 9, 30 BC. There is one moment people always miss. Not the wars, not Caesar, not Antony. This one. You are 18 years old. You walk into the temple at Memphis. And you speak to the head priest. In Egyptian. The ceremony stops. The priest goes still. He stares at you for 4 seconds. Maybe 5. In 274 years of your family's rule. Not one of your ancestors has done this. Not one has learned the language. Not one has bothered. Your father ruled Egypt his entire life. Without knowing how to say good morning. In the language of the people he governed. The priest recovers. The ceremony continues. But something has shifted in the room. A woman who can speak to you in your own language is not the same category of threat as a woman who cannot. You are 18, you already understand this. That understanding, that precise calculation about what identity is worth and what it costs, is the reason you are still dangerous. On the last day of your life, you are not Egyptian by blood. Your family, the Ptolemies, Macedonian Greek, descended from one of Alexander the Great's generals, who claimed Egypt when Alexander's empire collapsed 274 years ago. They have ruled the wealthiest country on earth, without learning its language, its theology, its people. You learned all 3. Egyptian, then 8 more. Aramaic, Ethiopian, Hebrew, Median, Parthian, Arabic, Troglodyte, the Libyan dialects. Not to impress anyone. To read what people were hiding. In languages they assumed you could not speak. A god-queen cannot be put in chains. Only a person can be put in chains. The story people believe about you is worth more than the army behind you. You stopped being just a person at 18. Tonight that choice is the only weapon you have left. It is enough. 3 miles from this mausoleum. In the palace Octavian has claimed as his residence. A letter arrived from Rome 2 days ago. You do not know about this letter. The craftsmen have finished the first wax figure. They need confirmation of hair color before completing the second. The parade route is chalked on the cobblestones of the Sacred Way. The date is set. 2 hours and 40 minutes allocated. The wax version of you is dressed, positioned, and waiting. Octavian folds the letter, sets it on the desk. He has a problem he has not spoken aloud to anyone. For 13 years he has been fighting what was actually a civil war. Roman general against Roman general. And telling Rome it was something else entirely. A defensive war against an Eastern queen, who seduced 2 of its finest generals, and nearly pulled the Roman identity out through the empire's throat. That story requires a specific closing image. You, alive, in chains, behind his chariot, walking the sacred way while Rome watches. 200,000 people watching the East be brought low. But here is what keeps him up at night. Julius Caesar loved this woman. Rome's greatest general. The man Octavian built his entire authority upon. Spent 4 years under her influence. If she dies free, on her own terms, in that room, she dies as Caesar's equal. The woman who outlasted every man who tried to define her. And Octavian becomes the man who couldn't finish what Caesar started. He does not need the parade for Rome. He needs it for himself. A man who needs something specific from a prisoner. Who has nothing left to lose. Is not holding leverage. He is asking for a favor. He does not know this yet. You are about to figure it out. Yesterday, he came to you. Not the other way around. The tell. A man who walks to a prisoner is performing courtesy. Performing courtesy hides what he needs. He is 33 years old. Clean-shaven. Calculated still. The face of a man who decided before you walked in. And is now producing deliberation. You received him reclining on your couch. Deliberately. Calibrated grief. Real. Because Antony was real. But grief with space in it. You showed him the inventory. Gold. Silver plate. Baltic amber. Uncut emeralds. Proof that even at the worst moment of your life, you were thinking about Rome's needs. He nodded. Appeared receptive. But his advisor Epaphroditus held his stylus above the wax tablet without writing. You know what that hand means. One of your people had already talked. A household manager named Seleucus went to Octavian's camp. Told them the inventory was incomplete. A second reserve, hidden. Octavian watched you perform loyalty and said nothing. You walked in with your best offer on the table. Their side already had your bottom line before you sat down. This was never a negotiation. It was an audition. He came to find out whether you would perform. Defeated queen who walks willingly. Convincingly enough to walk without incident in 23 days. You caught it, not from his face. His face never moved. From the hand holding the stylus without writing. The door closes. You are sick into the basin. Not grief, clarity. He does not need your cooperation. He needs your breathing body. Those are different requirements. You can satisfy one and deny the other. The one you can deny is still yours. You do not sleep. One variable at a time. No sentiment. Variable 1. He needs your body alive and walking on a specific date. Non-negotiable to him. Variable 2. You control when you die. Not whether, when. Variable 3. The variable Octavian cannot calculate. Because Rome has never understood this. Not once in 3 centuries of dealing with Egypt. A pharaoh who completes the ritual correctly does not die. She transforms. Isis, Osiris, the Nile, the eternal return. Rome believes in conclusions. Egypt believes in cycles. And then it hits you. 3 a.m., hard enough to sit up. The story you built to hold power is the story that sets you free. Every hour in the temples. Every language mastered. Every time you chose Egypt over your Greek blood. You thought you were ruling. You were building the exit. 21 years of decisions made at 18. Paying back everything they cost. On the last night of your life. You think about your children. Caesarion, 17, sent south 3 weeks ago. Toward India. You hold that thought 4 seconds. 5. Then you let it go. There is a feeling at the end of that road. You cannot survive tonight. The twins, Alexander and Selene, 10 years old. They will go to Rome. They will live. Rome keeps royal children alive. Policy. Cold, still alive. They will know their mother did not walk in chains. You decide this is the only number that matters. 3 miles away, Octavian is asleep. His people told him today you are manageable. He stopped worrying about you before midnight. He has not yet read the move you just made. You call for Charmian and Iris. 17 years each. You tell them. Neither argues. They begin. Now the question that will outlast every empire in this story. What is in the basket? A man from the market brings figs to your door this morning. Octavian's guards inspect the basket. They find figs. They wave him through. Before midday, you send Octavian one sentence. You wish to be buried beside Antony. He reads it, stands up immediately. Messengers leave the palace running. They arrive at your door 43 minutes too late. When they break it down, you are on your couch, crowned, robed, hands folded, eyes closed. Ire is on the floor at your feet, dead. Charmian behind you, dying, still standing. 2 marks on your left forearm. Small, circular, 1.4 centimeters apart. That is the physical record. Everything after this is 2,000 years of argument. The snake theory. An Egyptian cobra hidden under the figs. Royal symbol. Sacred to Isis. Clean image. Perfect for history books. No cobra found in the room. No skin. No scales. Nothing. The needle theory. A pin dipped in concentrated hemlock. Hidden in your hair comb. Produces marks exactly consistent with what was found. Faster than a snake. More reliable. A snake might decide not to cooperate. A needle never refuses. The vial theory. A glass container of pre-prepared toxin. Carried in your ring for months. The man with the figs. Theater. The snake story. A gift to Rome. Because you understood one final thing. Rome needed a clean narrative for the official record. And a queen dying by the sacred asp of Isis is a better story than a queen with a vial in her jewelry. You gave them the story they needed. One last lesson in who controls the narrative. Now, the last hour. Past midday, full gold through the high window. You bathe in water scented with nard and myrrh. The temple oils, the smell of 21 years of ceremony and power. You dress, the crown, the broad collar, the white linen robes, the coal. If there is a body, it is a pharaoh's body. Not a prisoner's, not a figure in his parade. You sit facing the harbor. Ire is at your feet, Charmian behind you. The basket beside you, or the needle in your comb, or the vial in your ring. That argument runs from this afternoon into eternity. The room is arranged when they break in. Nothing overturned, nothing desperate, everything in its place. Charmian stands when they enter. Barely, dying, standing. The soldier asks, "Is this right? Is this how a queen should die?" Her last breath, 11 words. It is entirely right, and worthy of a queen descended from so many kings. Then she falls. Octavian gets everything. Egypt, the grain surplus, the treasury. Every Roman emperor for 5 centuries carries Lord of Egypt. In their official name. The wax figure walks the sacred way. 200,000 people cheer a statue. But every account of that triumph begins with your name. Not his. 2056 years later. Schoolchildren on 6 continents know your name before they know Rome fell. Most cannot name 3 emperors who came after him. He got Egypt. You got the next 2,000 years of it. He knew it was a parade. You knew it was a story. Stories outlast parades by about 2 millennia. Before Octavian sealed this mausoleum, documents were removed. 13 years of letters between you and Antony. 4 years between you and Caesar. Your handwriting, your words, shown precisely who was driving the strategy. In the most consequential correspondence in the ancient world. His archivists catalogued them. Title, date, sender. That catalog survives. The letters do not. They appear on one inventory list dated 3 days after your death. And then they are gone. No Roman historian quotes them. No Greek historian cites them. Not one copy in 2056 years. The man who needed the world to believe. You were the chaos, the seductress, the foreign distraction. Was also the man who controlled what the world was allowed to read. In every generation since, someone has held the record and decided what you are remembered for. In 30 BC it was Octavian. It has always been whoever won. That is not ancient history. That is still the system. What was in those letters? And what Octavian understood when he read them? Is the most consequential unanswered question. In the history of the ancient world. You lived this once. And now, your history.